What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pursuit of High Performance podcast. My name is Nikita Ragoza, and if you want to know how to reach your highest potential, optimize your life, and be a high performer, then you are absolutely at the right place. So today's guest is a great friend of mine. He has a lot to offer. He has done a lot of things in life, and he is an entrepreneur, a marketer, and investor. He's currently doing digital marketing, stock investing, and building his exillionaire business and brand. He became an entrepreneur at age of 17 when he started his first blog, e-commerce website, and flipped small products. He started an app development business at the age of 21 while in college and ended up dropping out in junior year because of it. He ended up developing 5 apps, 2 for himself, 3 for his clients. He's worked on over 100 projects ranging from apps, websites, and marketing campaigns. Now he's working with startups, 6- and 7-figure businesses in marketing, project management, consulting while growing his marketing business. He also started investing in stocks during COVID and has made 50+ percent returns in only 4 months. So without further ado, welcome Rezan Levandovych. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, how's it going? Nikita, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate, you sharing that whole long intro about me. It definitely, it's amazing for me to think back on all the things that I have accomplished and really, the desire to want to do even more than that. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. And great accomplishments, great wins. So start by sharing with the viewers about the key moments on your life journey that really shaped you in becoming who you are today and what inspired you to create everything that you created.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Ukraine. I came here when I was 3 years old to America with my mom and my sister. And, we were raised in Brooklyn, New York for most of our life. And, as a kid, we didn't really have much. My mom was living paycheck to paycheck, just barely making ends meet. And, but as a kid, I was still creative. I still, was doing the things that I was passionate about. I was using what I had in the house or around me to create new things. And I always loved to create something, whether that's like little gadgets or little toys or just, make the best of what I had as a kid. And, I even wanted to be a magician as a kid, and I loved scooter riding and wanted to be a professional scooter rider. So that shaped a lot of my younger days. And that has been like a really cool start to my life. And then around 17 years old is when I started my first business, e-commerce business and blogging, flipping products, all that kind of stuff. And that kind of started and propelled my journey into entrepreneurship and all of the great things that I can accomplish there. And one of my biggest whys was to really be able to change my financial situation for my family, my mom, and wanting to be able to, really contribute to my family and be able to contribute to my family as well as to the world and make a big impact. So 17 and 21, I was in college. I started my first app development business with my friend. He was my partner, and we created 2 games, and we started to create apps for clients. And then that transitioned into other things like website development and marketing and all that stuff. So, those are key moments that I would say in my life that propelled me to move forward. I had other great moments where I was able to elevate and propel myself personally, personal development, constantly learning, constantly growing, investing thousands and thousands of dollars into my own growth and, finding how can I take myself to the next level. So, it's been a great journey so far, but I'm only getting started, as I always say.
100%, man. Talk about the services you provide in your business and what do you offer and support your clients with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do digital marketing for my clients, mainly small businesses, And what I do is I do mainly SEO. I do website design and development, creating, marketing, landing pages, funnels, and other, different services like YouTube SEO to conversion optimization and email marketing and different things within marketing that really supports a business to grow and to sustain their business over the long term. So that's what I do right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, I know you're an entrepreneur, and there's a lot of new entrepreneurs and startup businesses coming out right now. So, what's some inspiring advice that you can provide for people that are just starting their entrepreneurial journeys, and what can you provide for them that will have them creating a successful business?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest times that I've propelled and grown in my businesses was the times that I've taken the risk. I've taken bigger risks, bigger leaps forward, even when I wasn't fully sure about what to do or how to do it. I still took the step forward, and then as I did that, I was able to learn and gain experience much quicker than if I were to just try to plan everything perfectly out and hope that I can figure out the how before I get started, right? Because if I did that, I probably wouldn't even be where I am today. And I probably won't even be an entrepreneur at this point, right? So be willing to take the risks, jump forward. You might have a lot of fear that is coming up. And that's something that you can work through personal development, constant growth. So, whatever your fear is, whatever your challenges are, there is a solution for it. So take the steps that you need to find that solution and take the leap forward. And once you do that over and over and over again, you'll gain more confidence to do more and more.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done for myself. And that's been probably the biggest key to my growth.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. Taking that leap of faith, taking those risks, you might have those challenges coming up, that those limiting beliefs, those fears coming up, but having the courage to do whatever it takes to follow through and persevere through those fears and challenges. So I definitely agree with you, taking those risks and doing whatever it takes. Talk about the power of investing and compounding interest now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big jump, I would say, from business, but really, when I talk about I'm an investor, I'm not just an investor in stocks, but also in myself. So first, I want to, I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but having this mindset of constant growth and investing in yourself. So whether that's investing in new programs, investing in a coach, investing in getting the tools that you need to grow your business, be willing to spend the extra money because the amount of it's going to support you is going to be far greater than the amount that you spend, and the return is going to be much higher. So be willing to spend the money and invest in yourself first. As you do that, you will have the mental capacity and the mental mindset to be a better investor, whether that's in your business or in stocks or other places, right? Because if you want to be financially successful, it all starts from the mind, right? Because we're all conditioned and programmed from when we are young how to think about money and how to think about finances. And if your financial mindset is off, no matter what you do with investing or business, you're going to lose money. You're going to not succeed to the best that you can. So, and if you feel like you're hitting like a limit all the time, that means there's a limiting belief inside of your mind that is holding you back from getting to the next level. And you're going to have to figure what that is, figure it out, and then also break through it. And so it was interesting for me because when I got into stock investing, it was probably I would say my easiest way of making money at this current moment. And I didn't expect to, do that well. Like I was able to get 50% returns within the first 4 months, which is very unlikely in most cases. And I think even if you can get a 10 to 20% return every single year, that's a really, really good return for your money. So, yeah, it shocked me in that way, and I was really excited, and it was something that just clicked for me.
Mm,
And I think one of the reasons it clicked for me was because my mindset was right, and my financial
mm,
mindset has changed over time and allowed me to make better decisions, which allowed me to actually grow. And another point to this is like, I go to my deli near me, and I talk to the guys there who serve bagels. I usually get a bagel there, and I told him that I'm in stock investing, and he says, I've tried stock investing. Every time I put money in, I lose money, and I hear this from other people as well. It's like, I put money and it goes down, and one of the reasons that happens is because, like I said, it's the mindset. It's your financial mindset, and I think if you can change that, it will change everything for you financially, and also in your life and your relationships and
mm,
in every area of your life. So to kind of go to the next point, which is compounding interest, right? What is it? Well, it's really just the idea that um, when you invest in something, right, you're putting your money into an investment that you believe is going to bring you money over time. And let's say that in this case, I invest money and then I make a 20% interest every single year. That 20% that you gained by the end of the year is now going to make you an additional 20% the next year. So your money starts to make money, and the money that you make from the money that you've put in now is making you even more money. So it's
mm,
like this. There's actually a calculator that shows you how much you grow over time. But the way compounding interest works it works very exponentially. So you'll go like very slow, and then you'll have this kind of really big upward projection with your investment, and it allows you to actually be able to um, really grow financially very, very fast,
mm.
but over a long period of time. So definitely requires patience. And I didn't explain it to the best of my ability, but if you look it up, I think it'll really support you, because as there is compounding interest in stock investing, it does not mean just as it goes up, but also going down. If you have loans or if you have credit cards that have interest, and you're paying interest every single year, that's compounding interest, but in a downward way.
Mm.
And that could have a very big financial impact on you as well. So if you look into compounding interest more, do your research, you're going to see how powerful it is. And you can use an interest calculator to really see, like, if you had a really good investment, what would that return in like 10, 20, 30 years from now? And you're going to be actually really shocked at the results. So
Mm.
definitely check that out.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So what I heard you say is with finances and money, it's actually our relationship with ourselves and our mindset, that our beliefs that control our perception and the decisions we make with finances. So working on your mindset and getting down to the core limiting beliefs, releasing them, and creating empowering beliefs that will support you to take those specific action steps to get you to where you want to be in finances and career and relationships, like you said. So jumping off of that with for mindsets and personal development that you said. So let's dive into personal development. So talk about when did you start your personal development journey? When did you start your transformation journey? What courses or workshops did you take? And what are those transformational experiences that you had in yourself and in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first course I ever took was when I was 17. That was all about, starting an online business and e-commerce business, learning how to flip products. And that excited me to want to grow, because I've realized when I did start it, I wasn't really successful with it. I really failed at it in many ways. And then other ways I have succeeded with it. But I figured out that, hey, there's more that I get to do on myself if I want to truly be successful. Because at the time when I was 17, I set a goal that I wanted to be a millionaire within 1 year. And to me, that was like, in my mind, it was 100% doable. And, like I wanted that to happen, but I realized like my personal development wasn't up to standards with that goal. And I got to work on myself over and over and over again. And every time I failed or I didn't achieve my goal, I know I just need to work more on myself. And, there's different courses that I've taken, um, different courses from sales to marketing to emotional intelligence, to like reading different books. There's all types of personal development you can do. I think everything is tailored really to the person. So, it depends on the challenges that you have. Like if you have certain fears, like for example, when I was in high school, I ended up somehow getting the fear of public speaking, and I was terrified of it. And I knew it was one of the biggest things that held me back in my life. And when I turned into an entrepreneur, I knew that if I wanted to be a successful entrepreneur, I needed to be a great communicator. I needed to be able to speak publicly or to speak to people or to be social and not be afraid to speak. And so I ended up taking public speaking classes in college, which supported me immensely. I've taken like a theater class just to get out of my comfort zone and to do something totally different. And that was like another level of uncomfort. And I've done some Toastmasters, which is really just like about public speaking. And yeah, so anytime I had anything that held me back, I was like, what can I do to overcome this? Because there's no way like that this is permanent, right? Like it's all in the mind. It's all that was created and programmed from when I was little. So I know I can change it. And I took on that mentality and I was doing whatever it takes to overcome those fears. And even being on this podcast is a form of public speaking, which I probably would have been terrified to do in high school. And I do still get some, anxiousness and things like that. But at the end of the day, I know that whenever I do speak, whenever I do provide value, it is also a service to the world. And I don't just think about myself in that case.
I love that. Yeah. And what I heard you say about public speaking, the fear is actually fear of rejection, fear of judgment. So when somebody says, oh, they fear public speaking and they fear being on stage and communicating, the actual fear is fear of rejection, fear of judgment. So that's like the root fear behind that. Talk about the emotional intelligence leadership program. So we went to the same one. We went to next level trainings.
Yeah.
That had a huge impact on my life. Talk about your experience going through that program, and what did you become conscious and aware about yourself? Like what patterns, what behaviors, and what did you break through? Like what actually changed and transformed in yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first got into the training, on the first level of the training, um, I didn't necessarily think there was that much, that I can necessarily improve on at the moment. Maybe like I just wasn't aware of what I wasn't aware about, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. And when I got into that room, there was a lot of things that I've heard before and that made sense to me. But then I discovered like even more that how much I get to work on myself and how much I was very shy, very closed off, hiding all the time, checking out, not wanting to speak, that consistent pattern continued to come up. Um, and yeah, and that was something that I had to break through, and I got to break through through next level. And I was able to build more confidence within myself. I realized that I was also in the process of hiding. I was also doing something, called people pleasing. I was trying to be the nice guy, having the nice guy syndrome, and that was definitely prevalent for me. So, building confidence, being authentic, and creating passion in whatever I do was really, really important for me during that training. And yeah, I'm grateful to have gone through it and be able to discover that about myself. And, you know, that's something that takes a lot of time to work on sometimes. And even till this day, like constantly working on yourself is key. You know, there's always something, there's always next level, right? There's always,
Mm.
you know, a higher level of performance. And that's what, you know,
Yes.
your podcast is about, is like, you know, higher performance and
Yeah.
reaching that top level. And, um, yeah, I think that was one of the most, you know, shifting moments for me, because it actually allowed me to become free of
Mm.
my limiting beliefs, or a lot of the beliefs that I held on to that didn't support me anymore. And I was able to move in my business and my life much more easily, much more freely, much more happily, joyfully. And just my life became so much better and happier after that.
Awesome, man. And I actually want to connect with what you just said about what you went through in that experience, that you were shy, that you were checked out, that you had fear of rejection and fear of judgment from being up there and speaking. I had the same exact thing growing up. I was always shy. And I had the same experience in EXO. Like I always had the fear of standing up and speaking and sharing my experience, whatever I was going through. So I can definitely relate with you on that. Um, as well as with releasing those limiting beliefs and the people pleasing and the nice guy syndrome. So to everyone listening, whether you're a man or a woman, if you notice that you people please, if you notice that you're being walked over, that you're a doormat, that you're putting others before yourself, you got to let that go. It's not serving you. It's not supporting your life. It's not going to support anybody else. It's actually a form of manipulation. So when you people please, you actually want to put your view on how people view you. So it's actually manipulating the way people view yourself. So it's not going to support you or anybody else. So let the people pleasing go. To all the men, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Just be yourself, be authentic, be raw. If you want to say no, say no. If you want to say yes. But don't people please. Don't be a doormat anymore. Don't be that hurt little boy anymore. So it's time to man up, man the fuck up, as I
Yeah.
say, and just be yourself, live your life, and in order to be free, you get to be yourself. So let that go, and I hope you take that in from what Rezan said and myself, and move forward with integrity.
Yeah. And
What?
also,
Yeah, go for it.
you know, when you talk about this and you say, you know, don't you put other people in front of yourself, right? Yes, we want to make sure that we fill our cup up first,
Mhm.
before we try to fill up other people's cups. And that was a huge eye-opening experience for me,
Mhm.
because I would do things for others and never really focus on myself, and my health would decline.
Mhm.
And um, I didn't work out. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I was too worried about other things. And um, but at the same time, right, it's not that you stop supporting others, it's not that you stop being nice in general. Like there's still that you still want to do that, but
Yeah.
in a way that is serving both people, right, where you're still authentic, where you are filling up your cup and you're filling up their cup. And
Yeah.
in that scenario, you're able to actually be much more productive, much more effective, and both parties are usually happy at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hundred
absolutely.
percent, 100%, and it's actually when we were talking about the nice guy syndrome, and check out that book to everyone listening. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. He's a psychotherapist. He breaks down the nice guy syndrome and the coping mechanisms and the behaviors and the patterns of what a nice guy is. So it's actually a coping mechanism that we took on in childhood in order to be in order to want to be accepted, loved, appreciated, heard, seen by our parents or guardians. So it was actually a coping mechanism that we created and took on from childhood. So And awareness is the first key. So that's why like the emotional intelligence program was so powerful for us, is because we didn't know what we didn't know, but we became aware of what we didn't know. So we became aware of our patterns, our behaviors. So that's why, to anyone that wants to scale their business, increase their finances, work on their relationships, build joy in their life, work on their health and fitness, anything, any area of your life that you want to expand and grow, and you got to work on yourself first. So you got to release those toxic behaviors and those patterns, and just be the best version of yourself. And that's why I created this podcast, to invite people that are masters in their field and just really have these deep conversations about development and really pursuing the next level of yourself and being a high performer in all areas of your life. So thank you for sharing that experience with me. Let's take a shift and go into the previous relationship that you were in. So you recently got out of a 6 or 7 year relationship. Is that correct? 6 or 7
Yeah.
years? Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about that experience in that previous relationship. Like, what were the challenges that you experienced, and what are the biggest lessons that you learned that you took away?
Yeah, that's a very challenging thing to think about because it's still pretty fresh, I would say. And so I would say the biggest lesson I learned in a way is that you can't force things to happen. If you're constantly forcing the relationship to happen, it becomes a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
It becomes almost not, it doesn't work, right? Because you're constantly at this stress level. You're constantly stressed out, they're stressed out, you're stressed out, and there's friction.
Yeah.
And with that friction, it's hard to build on that foundation. So with me in that relationship, we actually had a lot of flow. We had a lot of flow, and that's why it lasted for such a long time, is because we were able to flow. Even though we had our challenges, we were willing to work with each other, and both were willing to grow to where we needed to go. And, you know, we both supported each other in some way. And that really, you know, she supported me more with like more of the feminine side, supportive, loving, connection, family. Like because of her, I'm far more closer, I would say, with my family, and the desire to want to be closer with my family. And on my end, I taught her more about like masculine qualities, action plans, you know, overcoming your fears, or just taking massive action and taking risks as well. So it worked really, really well. We had that balance between each other that supported us in to flow through our relationship. And then once COVID hit, you know, we were able to really look at our relationship deeper. And we both realized we had some doubts, we had some curiosities, we had some things that were bothering us on both sides, and it just wasn't working as flowy anymore. So the best thing that we could do was to just give ourselves the separation and the time to work on ourselves, to refocus our attention, to fill our own cups up first. And then if the future holds this for us, we will get back together in the future. And that's kind of the way I approached it, is that, you know, this is not really an ending, it's just a new beginning, and that this is going to be the best time, that it will give us the time that we need to work on ourselves. And it has really, really supported us until now. We still talk pretty much every day anyways. We're like really close friends. We still love each other in many ways. And, you know, the future is unknown at the moment, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to not know what the future holds sometimes for certain relationships or for certain things, and just trust the process of yourself, and know that if it's going to work out, it's going to happen, right? Like if it's meant to be, it's going to happen, and it's going to flow. It's not going to be something that requires a lot of push and pull or resistance. And that's kind of my approach to that relationship.
I love that, man. Yeah. And I can definitely relate with you because about 2.5 months ago, I got out of a 2+ year relationship, and we had the same experience coming up, like a lot of doubts, a lot of toxic patterns of behaviors, especially when COVID hit. Same thing, like it was a time to stop, to reflect. A lot of doubt came up, a lot of resistance, a lot of friction. So it wasn't flowing anymore. So it was a lot of like stress, like you said, because of the resistance and because of it being like stuck. So I love that approach that you said. Like, if something isn't flowing, take a pause, take a break, and reflect. Like, what's not working? Why is this not working? What's the best thing that we can do to move forward for the best, for the best of the people? Like, not only in relationships, but for communication in general, with coworkers, with employees, with friends. Like, hey, like, what's in the way? What's the blockage? What's the resistance? And is there something we can do? Like, what are the action steps we can take to move forward in the best way possible that will serve the both of us? And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And talking about like patterns and behaviors, like what are, if any, like what are the patterns and behaviors that weren't serving you, that you were conscious and aware of in that previous relationship? And what are some ways that you can share to release those toxic behaviors in a healthy way?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest one is being in my comfort zone. Um, I think that was a pattern that was not just in my relationship, but in other areas of my life where I was comfortable with where I was, and it wasn't
Mm,
allowing me to get to the next level. It wasn't allowing me to experience a new level in the relationship, whether that's connection, just traveling, or experiences overall. Um, so connection, I mean, you know, this comfort zone was huge. I would say also just holding back how I feel was a big pattern because I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want to, you know, um, yeah, I think that was the biggest one. It was like this codependency on the
mm,
relationship, on in the relationship that forced me to not always say my truth. Not that I wasn't being authentic, but it was just like I was holding back what I actually felt and how I felt in that relationship. And that's why what happened when COVID hit, I was able to actually finally release that in some
mm,
way and express it as best I can. And that's why that happened. So ways to overcome that is really just um, be willing to communicate clearly, authentically, and fully with your partner, because the more you hold back, the more you resist, and the more
mm.
it creates more of that same problem, right?
Yes.
So if you're feeling something inside towards the other person, some sort of resentment, some sort of fear or anything, share it with that person. um, make sure that you're both like in a good state, you're both in a positive mood in a way, and you're not both angry at each other, and sit down and talk about what's working, what's not working, and how you want to progress in the relationship.
Mm,
And maybe in that situation, it might be not best for you to move forward with that person, um,
hmm.
based on what you both say. Or maybe it makes you even stronger, it makes you even
Mm,
more connected, and allows you to really propel and get what you want from the relationship, as well as give what the other person needs for that relationship. So communication is huge.
mm.
Never assume anything about the other person or how they're thinking. I think that's
Yeah.
a huge pattern that a lot of people have, um, in all relationships, is we think that we know this person and what they're
Mm,
thinking and what they're doing, that we start to create these stories in our mind of what they're
yeah.
doing or how they're thinking about other situations. And that can create fear, anger, frustration,
Mm,
stress, that it doesn't exist, or isn't actually real, right?
mm.
And that causes even more friction in the relationship. So the best thing you can do is just not to assume what that person is doing. If you're wondering, ask directly,
Yeah.
Don't try to hide and figure it out. Have that communication. And if you can create that communication with your partner and they're willing to do the same, I think your relationship is going to go really far and you're going to really grow with that person.
Man, I love what you just shared. I could definitely relate, again, I could definitely relate with you on that. And I'm sure that other men can relate with, it's a pattern for us men to repress and hold our emotions and feelings and have that resistance with communication with our partners. So it's so important to really focus on communication and really authentically expressing what you're feeling and just say whatever is coming up for you in a healthy way as best as possible with your partner, and to really, like you said, don't make assumptions. And that's a great foundation, and it's from the book The Four Agreements. So whoever didn't read that book, really make sure to read it. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. One of the agreements is don't make assumptions. So don't assume anything about the person, what they're thinking, what they're doing, how they're feeling. So just ask the question, be direct. Hey, like, how are you feeling? What's coming up for you? What's on your mind? And in a respectful way as best as possible. So don't make assumptions. Share what you're feeling. That's what I heard. And those are great. Those are great points. What else can we do to improve our communication and like really improve our communication skills with partners, with employees, with business owners, with friends, with family? So like, what are those communication skills?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone should definitely take some sort of communication class. I think, learn, watching YouTube videos or just finding ways that you can improve your speech, how you're talking, and the clarity of what you're saying, and learning how your tonality works and how you can change that. And I think all of these things can have a huge impact. For example, like tonality has a huge impact on, you know, uh, what people feel when you say things to them, right? Like sometimes someone will say something to you and they're not necessarily trying to be condescending or arrogant, but their tone is, and therefore that communicates to the other person this kind of negative feeling, even if that person is saying something maybe positive or constructive or something that you can actually benefit from. You're not going to actually take that in because of that tone that you're using, right? So thinking about your tone, thinking about speaking loudly, clearly, um, simplifying things a lot of the time is really important. Because I know myself, I'm a super analyzer, so I like to complicate things sometimes. And when I'm able to simplify and say it in a simpler manner, it actually gets across more effectively. Obviously, it depends on the person and how they talk and their level of knowledge, but generally, like I know even in marketing, we always talk about simplifying, using less words and just being as clear as possible on what you mean. And also being clear as possible means don't assume that they're going to understand what you mean, right? Because you can say something to somebody and know that, oh, this means this to you. Like, let's say I say, I want to go out, right? For me, it might mean like, I want to go to the club, or I want to go, have drinks with friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
To somebody else, it might mean something different, right? So if you can also be clear on exactly what you want, that you will actually be able to achieve that or get that what you're looking for, versus if you try to be broad and just kind of use your own language that other people might not understand, and then you're not going to get what you want from that communication. So yeah, those are some tips: tone, clarity, simplifying or clarifying as best as you can, be specific when possible. The more specific, the better, especially in business. If you are not specific, the outcome is going to be unknown. So be specific, be clear, use your tone, use your volume as well when you're speaking. And also you can record yourself as well. And that's actually a really cool tool to really see and hear yourself talk, because when we're talking, we think we are doing all right, or we're used to talking the way that we talk, so it doesn't seem off to us. But when we record ourselves, we can actually hear our speed, our pitch, our tone, our different things, and you can actually send that to other people and say, hey, can you give me some feedback around my communication and things like that. So that's a really cool tool to also improve your communication.
Awesome. That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I want to go a little deeper right now and ask you, what do you fear the most right now?
What do I fear the most? That's a great question. A lot of times I fear starting over. I fear starting over because sometimes you build something that you have worked on for so long, and then maybe it's not how you want it to be, or it's not really the outcome that you want. And then you have to make a switch, right? You have to change something. And that kind of aligns with passions as well, right? Like you could have had a passion when you were young that is not necessarily a passion now. And trying to force that passion now might not be helpful. So starting over right now sometimes is a fear for me. Like aging is a fear for me. I'm 25 right now. So for me, I've always had this kind of high expectation of myself of what I want to achieve from when I was 17. And when I'm not hitting that goal or not achieving that, I'm fearful of that in a way because I'm aging and getting older. But I've learned to, work with that and understand that I get to be patient as well. It's okay to start over. And just because I'm starting over does not mean that I'm starting from scratch, because I have all that experience, all that information that I've learned in the last 25 years that I'm going to use differently in this new project that I go about. So yeah, that's one of my biggest fears right now.
Yeah. And what are you most passionate and excited about to start over and create now, moving forward?
I'm still unsure. Obviously, I want to constantly be providing value, making the world a better place one step at a time, right? Because I think now more than ever, we need everyone to be willing to grow and to reach that next level. And if we can work together, we can unite, we can connect, we can understand each other, and not just argue and think that we're right and they're wrong, but be willing to understand one another, that we will be able to grow. So something in the realm of personal development, something in the realm of, using my marketing skills to be able to propel a message that will actually inspire and change lives. So I'm not sure exactly what that looks like for my next project, but, taking it one step at a time. And I'm sure as I dive deeper into it, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. And what's the biggest impact that you want to make right now on the planet? Like with everything that's going on, with all the fear and tribulations and challenges, like what's that big impact that you want to make and create on this planet?
Wow, that's a huge question. I think that if we can all take responsibility, I think if we can be understanding, I want to open the people up to their awareness. I want people to understand themselves better. And I think the better that they understand themselves and understand that they're responsible for their outcomes and the things that are around them, that it's not always just the other person's fault, because in any relationship, it's double side. There's always two sides to every story. There's always two ways that, two impacts, right? It's never just this person did something wrong and that's it, right? Like the way that you respond to that person doing something that you consider wrong is also going to impact that relationship and what the outcome is. So everyone has their part to play in the world. And if we can all take responsibility for our actions and how we talk, how we think, how we our attitude and our mindset and different things like that, the better the world will become, because we're going to do our part to make that change, because we can't all do it by ourselves. We all have to work together to make that happen. So yeah, that's the biggest impact I want to make right now.
Of that. Yeah. What do you feel like your part is and your purpose is on this planet right now?
I would say definitely in the marketing realm, like being able to spread a positive message out to more people. You know, I work with a life coach right now. His name is Mark, and you know, he has a great message that he spreads out to the world, or you know, around spirituality, or even like just personal growth and looking at yourself and identifying challenges within yourself that you get to work
Mm.
on. So being able to help him reach more people and spread that message is one of the ways that I am actually able to do that. Also, being on podcasts myself is able to spread that message as well, and really just continue to plant seeds of positivity, of growth, of, hey, like, you know, maybe your life sucks right now, but it doesn't have to be that way. And you have that responsibility to change it. And you can change it if you're willing to do it.
Mm.
So yeah, just making that decision and helping people make that decision for themselves, that hey, like I can actually make a change, and I can actually improve my relationships and my business and my finances. I just need to put in the effort to do that. And it's not easy. It's not easy to change. Change can be hard, but you don't have to jump, you know, over the ocean to make a change, right? Like you can start today and do one small thing new,
Mm.
one small thing better, and improve 1% a day, right? That's the way that I think about it as well, is like, how can I improve just 1% today? Because if you can improve just 1% today, you will change 100% uh, more than 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And that will be a huge impact in your environment, in yourself, in your outcomes, and also the impact in the world that you create yourself. So yeah, that's the way that I'm creating my impact right now.
Mm. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Work on improving 1% at a day at a time, taking those steps every single day to work on yourself. I love that. Yeah, and even with Mark, the life coach, you said he's actually my life coach as well. He's been a huge contribution in my life. I've had a lot of transformations and a lot of growth in my life over the past 4 or 5 months working with him. So if anybody wants to reach out to him, he was on my second or third podcast episode. So you can go check that podcast episode out. His email, his website, and his Instagram information is in the link below, in the description in that podcast episode. So check it out. He's a huge contribution in my life, and I'm sure he was in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's go deeper into your lifestyle. So, what are the top lifestyle habits that you have in your life right now that support you to improve yourself in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I've implemented, I mean, a lot of these are just basics, right? Like, and it's crazy because too many people don't do the basics, don't do the things that are just necessary for your survival, for you to be optimally performing, right? So
Yeah.
that's like drinking water consistently every single day. And one of my goals right now is getting to a gallon a day. It's been a challenge, but I think about it, progress over perfection. As long as I'm moving towards that goal, as long as I'm pushing myself towards it, that's huge for me. So drinking more water consistently every single day. Um, I would say getting more into meditation and being more consistent with that has been supportive. Also using Wim Hof breathing techniques and different breathing techniques have also helped, especially generate energy for me and be able to get clear and focused throughout my day. Um, Having consistent routines in my morning and in my night, journaling as well is huge, to kind of reflect on how your day went, what's coming up in your mind, and you can actually release a lot of the thoughts that you have in your mind onto paper, and then you're not as over analyzing things, you're not as stressed out throughout the day, and you can be a lot more clear throughout your day and when you're sleeping as well. So things like that. I was working out consistently until I injured my rib, which I am almost fully recovered from my rib injury. So I'm going to get back into working out consistently, strength training, cardio, making sure I'm getting enough steps in my day as well, and just constant movement. All of these have a really big impact in how I feel and my energy as well. So yeah, those are some main habits, all basics that I think everyone knows about, but I think not too many people do consistently enough.
Awesome habits, yeah. And how have they like supported you in your development?
In my development, I would say it helped me be more disciplined. It helped me understand that about the idea of compounding, of the compounding effect, right? Similar to compounding interest. Just as you do one good habit every single day, that will compound dramatically in the next year, 2 years, 5 years down the line. Same as a bad habit. That bad habit might not seem so big at this current moment, but 5 years down the line, when you have, let's say, something comes up, a big health issue, that habit had a big impact in making that happen. So know that just because something is small and not a big deal doesn't mean it's not going to impact you in a big way 5 years down the line. So compounding effect is huge to really understand.
Do you have any like ways of releasing bad negative habits?
I would say I like to, whenever I want to release any sort of bad habits, I always think about my self-identity. Like, what is my self-identity? How do I look at myself? Because it really starts from there, right? Like, your habits start from how you see yourself, and how much you love yourself, and how much you truly want to achieve this big goal, and how much you believe that you can actually achieve that goal. And if there's inconsistencies from your goal to how you see yourself, you're going to constantly sabotage yourself with bad habits. So the best way to resolve that is not necessarily to just say, I'm going to just cold turkey cut something out of my life. That doesn't work as effectively, because let's say you did a 30-day challenge and you cut out, let's say, TV for the next 30 days. Or actually, I did a challenge where I did sugar. Sugar was like one of the biggest things that was my bad habits. And I did a 30-day challenge where I didn't eat sugar for 30 days. And once the 30-day ended, I wanted more sugar. I wanted to eat more of that. And that's because I didn't really change my self-identity around myself, and knowing that it's not just about consuming sugar. It's like, am I fueling my body? Do I care enough about my body to put the best things into it? And once I realized that, like, my sugar consumption has decreased significantly. And I still obviously crave it, and it's very addicting in many ways, but it has dramatically decreased once I was able to look at myself and really realize that my health is the most important, and I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to live a long life, and I love myself enough to say, hey, like, I want to eat the healthiest I can, not the worst that I can. And once I started to look at things like McDonald's and Burger King and like just bad food, fast food, as like poison, that changed everything for me. It became easy not to eat it, because to me it looked like poison. It didn't look like a juicy burger. It just looked like poison. And then I started to taste it in my mouth as well, right? Like, when I eat really salty foods now, like it's almost like too much to bear. Like, I'll eat some chips occasionally, and that salt is so strong because I'm not used to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't feel good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And my body's almost starting to reject it. So it becomes easier to do the good habits once you're able to change your identity and get clear on your goal and start to believe in yourself that you can accomplish the things that you set out to. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing that. So like, I want you to serve one human being right now. So my dad, if he's going to be listening to this, his name is Andre. So he's been smoking for a long time. He started smoking cigarettes when he was like 15 or 16. And there were moments in his life where I tried to support him to quit. But at this point, it's become such an ingrained habit, and it's become a part of him, a part of his life. When he feels like stressed out, he goes to smoke a cigarette, and he uses that as a coping mechanism. So can you please support him right now? Like if he's going to be listening, like what are some ways for him to release this toxic habit in the best way possible and have it as a long-term sustainable release from his life?
Yeah. That,
So
yeah.
talk to
Cigarettes.
Andre, talk to Andre right now.
Andre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikita. Andre, you know, I know it's a tough habit. I know that with cigarettes, it's another beast in itself, and there will be withdrawals because of that.
Mm,
With any sort of addiction, any sort of drug, uh, there will be that feeling of withdrawal. You're not going to feel good about when you're doing it. But I want you to think about your family. Um,
mm,
the people who need you most, right? Like when every time you take in a cigarette, um, you're increasing your chances of dying. You're increasing your chances of lung cancer and uh, getting closer to death. And you are doing a disservice to your family, to your son and the people around you. And these people need you. These people want you to be around as long as possible, and they care about you. And I want you to think about, what is it that you don't like about yourself that is causing you to smoke, right? Because
mm,
it's smoking is a form of lacking self-love,
mm.
in my experience, in my opinion, right? Because you know that it's bad for you, but you still do it.
Mm.
Right? So
Yeah.
what is it that you don't like about yourself that is causing you to do that? And I want you
Mm.
to really dive deep into that and find true meaning to love yourself, and then a true why to your family, and know that people are relying on you to be alive and to be healthy. So
Mm.
definitely look at that, and you know do your best to really change your self identity. How do you look at yourself? And
Mm.
once you can do that, not smoking is going to be a piece of cake. It's gonna, every time you put it in your mouth, you're gonna feel disgusting, and it's not gonna be as hard. So look at that first, and maybe that can support you, and keep working on it.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. I hope he hears that and takes that advice from you. And I definitely agree with everything that you said just now about if we want to start something new, if we want to embody a new habit or a way of being or release a toxic habit from our life, it really starts with our minds and our beliefs about who we are. And the core belief that comes down to everything is the feeling of not being good enough. So if somebody feels like they're not good enough, they'll self-sabotage, like you said. They won't focus on their health. They won't do the things that are best serving for them. So to everyone listening, if you want to release a toxic habit or behavior or a pattern or start something new, like start exercising or eating healthy, look at your belief system, look at your thoughts, look at your emotions. So like the core beliefs are the things that generate your emotions and your thoughts and results your behaviors and the actions you take. So start loving yourself and really dig deep down and sit with yourself, sit with what's coming up for you. Like, what are the emotions that are coming up? What are the repressed emotions that have been wanting to be seen and heard and loved? Like, really sit with yourself. It's time that you take that like that's that time to be with yourself and know that you are enough. Know that you are loved. You are worthy. You're worthy of being healthy. You're worthy of doing whatever you want to create. You're worthy of making a contribution and an impact on this planet. So know that that matters. Like, you matter. You are enough. You are loved, and you are worthy. So take that time with yourself, sit with yourself, and really feel those repressed emotions coming up, whether it's fear or anger or pain, especially to you men. Like, stop pushing those emotions away, stop repressing them. It's enough. Enough toxic masculinity, enough of this shit. Sit with yourself, face your fears, face your demons, and release that shit. Have a cathartic experience. Scream if you want to scream, punch a pillow if you want to punch a pillow, go outside for a run, do whatever you got to do to release those emotions. So, but remember that you are loved and you matter and you have a purpose, and you are unique, and you are a gift to this planet. To everyone listening, you are unique, and you matter to this planet. So sit with yourself and release those toxic behaviors and emotions, and work on yourself, work on your mind, work on your mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health. Connect with the source, connect with God, whatever it is to you, and practice those positive habits. Like Rezan said, eating healthy, exercising, moving your body, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, meditating. So practice these habits to be a high performer and live the best life that you can possibly live on this planet, and be the best version of yourself for yourself, your family, your friends, and this planet overall. Um, Rezan, thank you for everything you shared. Before I ask my final question, where can people find you, learn more about your business, and learn more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Rezan Levandovych, and it's just my full name. Also, my website is exillionaire.co. If you're interested in marketing services or any support with that, just reach out to me. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And like Nikita said, it's really all about progress over perfection, and taking that one step forward every single day. And you don't have to change everything right now, even if you want to. It's going to be a very big challenge unless you have the support to do that. So start with something small every single day. Like, if you're not drinking any water right now, drink like 16 ounces a day, and make that a consistent habit. And just find little ways to continuously improve 1% a day, and everything is going to get better over time. It's not going to be a quick fix for
Mm.
anything. Anything worthwhile takes time, so be willing to be patient and work on yourself. If you want to have great finances as well, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistent investing. If you want great relationships, it takes time, it takes consistent effort, takes patience. Whatever you do, it takes that time and patience, and you get to work on that if you don't have that. And that you can use meditation and breathing and getting the right support around you to make that happen. So yeah,
Mm.
thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Progress over perfection, and taking 1% at a time every single day to become better. So
Absolutely.
my final question for you is, what is your definition of high performance, and what does it take to reach that level?
Yeah, high performance, man. It's definitely subjective, I think, in many ways. But for me, I look at high performance as really being in the top percent, being above average, being, and I think also I look at it in a way, it's like, if you can just be better than you were yesterday, that's
Mm.
a form of high performance. You're moving towards a higher performing version of yourself. So it doesn't always have to be a specific financial number or a specific weight or thing, but it can be as well, right? Like, if you look at, if you're in a competition, who's the best, and where are you at within that spectrum? Are you in the top 1% of all the people in the world that do what you do, or are you average or below average or above average? And just like being able to know where you're at, so that you can move forward and upwards in what you do. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. And like I said, it's just about the best thing you can do, actually, I think, is just comparing yourself to yourself, not comparing yourself to
Mm,
others, but comparing yourself to yourself, because everyone is at a different chapter in their life and have different experiences, different uh, support, different experiences. So comparing yourself to other people is not always the best way and can be damaging in many ways. So just think about how can you be 1% better today and tomorrow and after that. And you're going to be so much happier that way, and you're going to actually grow so much faster. So yeah, that's what how I look at it.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to finish off by acknowledging you, my brother. Thank you for your kind spirit. You're always there for support. You're always there to lift people up, and I really see your pure soul. You're very masculine in your own ways, and you're very pure-hearted, like I said. So thank you for making the impact that you always make every single day, and you're living in purpose every single day, and just embodying a pure soul. So, and I'm grateful for knowing you, and I'm grateful for you being on this podcast, and for everything that you shared with the viewers, and all the value and impact that you just made for everyone listening. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. And
Thank you so much.
of course, man, of course. All your content and everything is going to be in the description box below for everyone that wants to reach out to him and learn more about him and his business. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends, family, um, Facebook, Instagram, everyone you know. And until next time, pursue high performance. Peace.